Yo guys, what's up? Monday86 here, back with the 1996 Jeep Cherokee. What we got here is a recent purchase of a header. Just gonna do this video. Gonna do a quick install. Alright, since I'll be working with the fuel system here, the fuel rail will have to come off. First thing you gotta do before you touch anything, before you touch the fuel line, before you touch the Schrader valve, make sure you come over here, disconnect the battery. Alright, next thing you want to do is come over here to the fuse box, relay box, flip it over. You want to disconnect the fuel pump relay. So you come over here, alright, fuel pump relay, alright. Alright, next thing we start doing is removing the air box and clear away. And then next, I think we're going to have to take the power steering pump off, which consists of these two bolts right here that are attached to the intake. But I think first we need to loosen the tensioner pulley. We'll just back that screw off there and it'll loosen the tension on the belt, and we're able to pull these two bolts off for the power steering pump. Alright, for the power steering pump, there was 3 bolts. Hold it in there. In order to get them out, you gotta turn the pulley to where the bolts are at, so you can pull them out of the front. So 1, 2, 3. And then of course there's a little tensioner pulley down here. I don't know if you really need to do that or it makes a difference, but just make sure to tighten that out when you slip the belt back on. Alright, now that we got the airbox out of the way, it was just 2 bolts. Once you take the air cleaner out, getting ready to start taking these brackets out. I think right now I want to purge that Schrader valve. I want to get all the fuel out of that fuel rail as much as I can. Then I can start taking everything off, like throttle body. Don't really have to take that off. I'll just take all these cables off first and then start disconnecting all the vacuum hoses. And then I believe down here, I don't know if we got to take, I believe we have to take that off. It's a fuel rail. Alright, in order to take some of these off, just pull back this, just push this backwards, should come off. Same with this one. And this one is going to take a flat screwdriver, just put it in between here, get a nice little twist. Alright. Right here we got the fuel rail. Here's the connector that connects to the fuel rail. I haven't seen anybody take this off yet. So into AutoZone. Grab this kit right here. I believe I'm going to use this. Alright, just going to show you real quick. It's a fuel line disconnect kit from AutoZone. Alright, just kind of split right here. Alright, never done this before. I believe you just put that in there, cover it with a rag so you don't spray yourself. Let me try a pair of pliers real quick. Cover this up. Alright. Looks like the pliers helped out a little bit. Just use them to help pry it. Seems a little easier. That's the struggle right there. Alright, since we got the fuel line disconnected here, there's 2 bolts that still bolted to the intake manifold. I'm just going to loosen that up so we're able to get this fuel rail out of the way so it's not in the way of moving the intake manifold. Alright, remove the fuel line, got it over here on the driver wheel well. Just have it here out of the way, have it covered up with this rag so no fuel or debris or dirt or anything else gets contaminated. And it's important to number your fuel injector connectors right here. You don't want to get them reversed, they can be easily reversed. Just make sure you label them before you take them off. Like this one's not a problem because there's nothing next to it, but just make sure the two that are close to each other, you got two here and you got two in the back, total of 6, but just make sure you label them. Probably get frustrating if you get them mixed up. Alright, next getting ready to remove the fuel rail right here. As you can tell, we've already bleeded the Schrader valve and hooked the fuel relay. Taking this off so it's got no more pressure in it, so you don't have to worry about gasoline squirting everywhere. And just a good precaution, make sure you have a cold engine. When you're doing this, you don't want fuel to go everywhere, and especially get on the exhaust manifold and catch fire. So take caution of that. This Jeep hasn't been ran today, so it's nice and cold. But just there's 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it's off. When that gets off, we're able to remove all the fuel rail and fuel injectors. Alright, just removed the intake manifold. As you can tell, the intake runners are pretty dirty there. The valves still look good on the inside. I'm just going to make sure I clean it up real good. Get all that gunk out of there. Just about to remove the exhaust manifold. I'll show you where it's cracked once it's removed, but intake is removed. Alright. Got the 2 bolts removed down there. Getting ready to take this exhaust manifold off. Right. Alright, got the header installed here. Got my new Felpro intake and exhaust gasket. And I thought while I was in here I'd change out the motor mount. Makes it a little easier since the intake's not in here. And all you gotta do is start putting everything in order in reverse. Alright. Right. Got the intake manifold on. Looks kind of pink for some reason, but it's not. It's definitely a bright red. Now I just gotta torque all the bolts. Sequence. This is for the 96. There's the sequence. I gotta tighten it in. Alright. Alright guys, just reassembling everything here, hooking up a lot of the vacuum line stuff to hook up the fuel line. But here I got my pink injectors. They're actually the 4 holes instead of the 1 for better atomization of the fuel inside the cylinder. Gonna see how those work. Heard you get a little more horsepower and torque gain and a little bit better miles per gallon. Gonna see how they work. Just a direct fit, direct plug-in. Alright. Alright, got everything done, painted the fuel rail, got my new 4-hole pink injectors on here, cleaned all the ports on the cylinder head, cleaned all the intake ports on the intake, which is really nasty, you know, 225,000 original miles. The valve cover was leaking, got oil down in there, you know, just kind of burnt itself to the intake ports. Put a throttle body spacer on it, like the corkscrew inside, so I guess it twists the air a little better. It may or may not work. Gonna give it a try. It sounds kind of cool. Sounds like a little tornado on the engine. Of course, got the header on it. Placed the motor mount while I was down there. The O2 wiring harness so it doesn't melt on the new header, which gets extremely hot. Make sure when you reconnect your fuel line that the gaskets inside don't have any dirt or debris on it. I had like a little fuel leak going on. I could feel it, and I have fuel on my fingers. Just took it back off, cleaned the O-ring with a Q-tip and put a little bit of oil on it so it'd seat well again, and right now it's just bone dry. You know, it's assembled back correctly. Biggest thing about this upgrade is just make sure, you know, it's hard to get a torque wrench on these bolts, so just make sure that you follow the torque sequence. You know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 13 bolts on this intake manifold combination here. Just make sure that you follow the order so the intake gaskets can seat right on the intake and exhaust. But other than that, got everything back together. She runs really good, starts up really good, idles a lot better. Definitely an upgrade if you guys want to do it. Big plus in my book. You know, just if you love your Jeep and want to put some money back into it, so that's a good way to do it, because we all have the problematic header that has cracks down by the flange. Well, of course not this one because it's brand new, but all of them down there where they meet might actually had 2 cracks in it. One down there and then one up a little bit by there. You know, they're like hairline cracks, but it still means a lot when it comes to exhaust, you know, back pressure and exhaust leaks for your O2 sensors and the engine management system. So yeah, guys, here she is, looking good. Getting ready for Jeep Beach. It's next week. You know, not gonna be looking under the hood or anything, but she's definitely running a lot better. Sounds a lot better. So if you guys are looking at doing this upgrade, definitely do it. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. Monday at 6, out.